The world of cryptocurrency is a turbulent one. It is filled with passionate communities, volatile price swings, and endless debates about the future of finance. Few cryptocurrencies elicit such a divided response as XRP. Created by Ripple Labs, XRP has long been lauded by some as the future of cross-border payments. Others, however, remain skeptical. They view XRP with suspicion, dismissing it as a centralized project masquerading as a decentralized currency. The debate around XRP is often heated, with proponents pointing to its speed and low cost, while detractors highlight its ties to Ripple Labs and the pre-mined nature of the XRP token. Adding fuel to the fire, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, launched a lawsuit against Ripple in 2020. This lawsuit, alleging that XRP was an unregistered security, sent shockwaves through the crypto community. The lawsuit cast a long shadow over XRP's future, leading some to declare it dead, and others to double down on their belief in its potential. This mix of enthusiasm and apprehension has created a fascinating dichotomy around XRP. It's a cryptocurrency caught between narratives, with its future uncertain and its potential yet to be fully realized. Amidst the uncertainty surrounding XRP, one voice cuts through the noise with a bold claim. John Squire, a respected figure in the crypto space, argues that XRP is not dead, but rather loading. This metaphor, evocative of a computer program preparing for a major operation, encapsulates Squire's optimistic outlook on XRP's future. Squire believes that despite the negative press and the ongoing SEC lawsuit, XRP is quietly building the foundations for a massive resurgence. He points to the underlying technology, the growing network of partnerships, and the potential for regulatory clarity as key factors that could propel XRP to new heights. Squire's perspective is not based on blind faith, but on a deep understanding of both the technical capabilities of XRP and the complexities of the global financial system. He argues that XRP is uniquely positioned to address the inefficiencies of cross-border payments, a trillion-dollar market ripe for disruption. While Squire acknowledges the challenges facing XRP, he believes that the potential rewards far outweigh the risks. His loading metaphor serves as a reminder that sometimes, the most significant transformations happen behind the scenes, away from the glare of the hype cycle. To understand John Squire's optimism, one must look beyond the noise and examine the groundwork laid by Ripple Labs. Over the past decade, Ripple has been quietly building a global financial network powered by XRP. This network, spanning over 55 countries and connecting more than 350 financial institutions, is a testament to Ripple's long-term vision and strategic execution. At the heart of this network lies RippleNet, a real-time gross settlement system that enables instant and low-cost cross-border payments. Unlike traditional systems that rely on intermediaries and often take days to settle, RippleNet allows banks and financial institutions to send and receive payments directly, using XRP as a bridge currency. Ripple's focus on building real-world solutions and forging partnerships with established players in the financial industry has set it apart from many other crypto projects. While some cryptocurrencies aim to disrupt the traditional financial system, Ripple seeks to collaborate with it, offering a faster, cheaper, and more efficient way to move money across borders. This approach has yielded tangible results. Major financial institutions like Santander, American Express, and MoneyGram have partnered with Ripple, recognizing the potential of its technology to transform the way they do business. These partnerships are not mere endorsements. They represent a growing demand for Ripple's solutions in a world increasingly interconnected by global commerce.
The $150 trillion playground, XRP's true battlefield. Remember when Bitcoin spot ETFs dropped and flipped the entire market sentiment overnight? This isn't just another ETF sideshow. Ripple is aiming for center stage in a $150 trillion global cross-border payments arena, and forecasts suggest that market could swell to $300 trillion by decade's end. Let that marinate for a second. We throw the word trillion around like spare change. But imagine stacking $1 billion on your kitchen table and doing that 150,000 times. That's the sandbox Ripple's building in, and XRP is the shovel they plan to dig with. They're already fully operational in places like Singapore, the UAE, and a significant portion of Southeast Asia. And if John Squire's suspicions are correct, financial titans like Bank of America and Standard Chartered aren't just observing from the sidelines, they're quietly boarding the train. If that's true, Ripple isn't pitching a prototype. They're putting finishing touches on a monetary superhighway, while most of crypto is still fumbling with road repairs. Price stagnation or silent setup, whale signals, and $2 theory. Now let's address the elephant in the room, XRP's price action. If you're anything like me, you've glared at the chart and muttered, "Move already." But here's where Squire flips the narrative. He claims XRP's dull price behavior is intentional. Bold, right? But the data backs it up. He points to on-chain volume rising steadily, RSI signals suggesting accumulation, and whale wallets quietly nibbling while retail chases meme coins. It's like that sneaky monopoly player who stacks up cheap properties while everyone else is counting paper money. Then, out of nowhere, boom. 4 hotels on Boardwalk, and the game's flipped. Smart money moves silently. Loud money screams on Twitter. Then came my personal lightbulb moment. I combed through exchanges and noticed something strange. Limit orders piled thick around the $2 mark. Either someone's defending that price level like a toddler guards their Halloween candy, or a lot of people believe $2 is the launch pad. And keep in mind, this is a coin that flirted with $3.80 in 2018, with barely 10% of today's infrastructure and zero legal clarity. If you do the math, more rails, plus less legal fog, bigger candles on the price chart. This isn't hopium, it's logic. Perception, XRP's biggest friction point. But here's the real battle, perception. Squire nails this. XRP has as many critics as pineapple pizza. Some refuse to touch it, simply because they still associate Ripple with centralization or bank coin narratives, ignoring a decade's worth of evolution. Squire argues that this skepticism is rocket fuel in disguise. Every snarky tweet, every thread dragging Ripple is just another log tossed on the campfire. The flame burns brighter. Volatility climbs, and momentum builds. Let's break it down. Crypto culture worships decentralization purity. Ripple lives in a hybrid world, a centralized vision, running on a decentralized ledger. Yes, Ripple holds a sizable XRP stash. Yes, validators aren't as widespread as Bitcoins. But that's by design. To crypto purists, that's a red flag. But to financial institutions, that's comfort. They don't want DeFi chaos. They want risk control. Clear rules, dashboards, and a support number to call at 2 a.m. XRP offers a rare blend, enough decentralization to appease the crypto-native crowd, with just enough polish to let the banks sleep at night. That's why Ripple can walk into a boardroom at Santander and not get laughed out the door. It's the Trojan Horse of crypto, except everybody sees the horse. They just can't decide if it's a blessing or a ticking time bomb. The final trigger, legal clarity and the domino effect. Now imagine this. The SEC finally stamps XRP with a not a security label in permanent ink. What happens next? All those compliance departments that have been sitting on the sidelines since 2020, boom, green light. Suddenly, the dominoes fall. Spot ETFs, institutional custody solutions, remittance corridor partnerships, Global settlement systems, one ruling tips the first domino, and the cascade begins. Faster than you can refresh coin market cap. That's why Squire's metaphor. XRP isn't dead, it's loading. Hits so hard. The chamber is locked, the shell is loaded, and the finger might already be on the trigger. XRP, one press conference away from ignition. We are one legal press conference away from a market-shaking detonation. By now, you might be thinking, isn't all of this just speculative hype? Fair question. So let's bring the receipts. Ripple processed 18 billion in volume last year. Sure, that's minuscule compared to Visa, but massive in comparison to most blockchain protocols. And unlike hype coins chasing charts, Ripple's utility has real-world impact. Take this. Their payment corridor between Japan and the Philippines slashed transfer fees by up to 70%. Actual savings for migrant workers sending money home. That's rent, food, school fees, not just day traders chasing green candles. In the UAE, a major bank used XRP to settle cross-border payroll for construction crews. They cut settlement times from 2 days to 2 seconds. That's no longer revolutionary tech, that's Tuesday afternoon in Ripple's world. And here's the kicker. Even under the shadow of a multi-year lawsuit, daily active XRP addresses grew by 40% year over year. That's like a restaurant getting slapped with a health code warning and then doubling its reservations. People vote with their wallets, literally. The red circle date, May 19th. Let's talk about what could be the spark, May 19th. That's when CME Group, Wall Street's institutional trading cathedral, launches XRP futures. Why does this matter? Because hedge funds and institutions that couldn't touch offshore derivatives due to regulations, they're now free to dive in. Liquidity will chase liquidity. Spot market prices will react to futures demand. Arbitrage bots will light up. Twitter will FOMO. We've seen this script before. Bitcoin in 2017, ETH options in 2020. Futures don't magically create value, but they amplify momentum when the engine is already primed. Now, throw in the BlackRock XRP Trust rumor, still unconfirmed, but if you know BlackRock, they don't sneeze without filing the paperwork. Add even a whisper of a final SEC settlement, and you've got what traders call confluence. 3 forces: legal clarity, institutional access, and trust infrastructure colliding like converging rivers. Stand too close and you'll get soaked. But position yourself right, and you're building a hydroelectric plant off the current. Retail versus smart money, who blinks first? Now maybe you bought XRP at 30 cents and panic sold at $1 when TikTok called it quits. Maybe you missed the 2017 run and vowed never to chase another green candle. Or maybe you're completely new and don't own a single token. Here's the shared message from Squire and myself. After pouring through this data, do not mistake silence for stagnation. Sideways price action is often just the disguise smart money wears while it accumulates. The real show tends to begin the moment retail taps out. Let me get personal for a second. Back in 2019, I laughed off Chainlink at $0.50 because of the memes. Then it hit $52 and I was sweating like a gamer who forgot to save. That's the lesson. The market loves to bore you before it humbles you. Right now, XRP is quietly echoing the same pattern. Low noise, steady wallet growth, big institutions lurking. So, where does this all lead? We've just unpacked a decade of infrastructure, a courtroom saga, real-world adoption, futures catalysts, institutional rumors, and yes, pineapple pizza controversy. If Squire's viral thread was a movie trailer, you just sat through the full feature film. Maybe XRP is primed to skyrocket. Maybe it'll stumble over new obstacles. But one thing is clear. You now have the popcorn, the soda, and the aisle seat, in case it's time to sprint to the nearest exchange. Final thought, XRP still has challenges. Competition from Stellar, central bank, digital currencies, regulatory curveballs. But here's the thing. Battle scars often become badges of honor. If Ripple survives the SEC, it won't just shake the stigma, it might gain a stamp of regulatory approval. And if even half of those rumored Ripple partnerships are already transacting millions quietly in the background, the price will eventually catch up. Markets can ignore fundamentals for years, but they can't ignore them forever. So next time you see someone dunk on XRP, maybe pause and ask yourself, is that just noise? Or is it the final whistle, just before the train pulls out of the station? Because, if Squire is right, that train has been loading the whole time. Doors open, engine humming. Most folks still distracted.